What's up, guys? Today, one of our friends asks us what's probably one of the oldest questions that thinking man has asked himself since the dawn of language. And he comes to Elliot Hulse for some support about how to navigate it. Hopefully, I can offer you an idea or two from some of the greatest teachers that have graced our presence, humanity, and maybe shed some light on what they've been trying to tell us with regard to the purpose of life. And our friend is feeling as if there is none. And I can't argue with him because he makes a good point. So let's listen. He's 21 years old and he has an issue. He says that he has this gift. And his gift is actually his thirst for more knowledge. He's insatiable. He wants to know more and more and more. And that's a great thing, especially living in the world that we live in, because check it out. Because of his continuous thirst for knowledge, he is an incredible student. He's been lifting, so he's in good shape. He's a great student. He's at the top of his class. He has an offer from a multinational corporation for when he graduates. He's ambitious. He has goals. He plays instruments. He taught himself how to play the guitar. Now he's teaching himself how to play the piano. He very rarely strays away from anything he's looking to achieve. He's a winner. In as short of words as I could possibly put it, he's a fucking winner. Our dude is making shit happen. He knows exactly what he wants. He knows how to get the information to support it, and he goes and gets it. But now he has an issue. It seems as if it's a double-edged sword. His gift has become a curse in a way because he's constantly asking questions and looking for answers. And recently, he's been delving into the universe and astrophysics. We got a badass here. He was raised as a Muslim, but he has long let go of that belief because he says he's more spiritual, similar to Elliot in a sense, he says. I take bits and pieces of everything and come up with my own philosophy. Interesting that you do that because you come into this world alone and you die alone. Your experiences are alone yours. The stories that people tell you, even though they're theirs, you alone have to interpret them and blend them into how you navigate your life. So for your philosophy and for your religion to be your own, it's pretty fucking human. But anyway, he says, in any case, recently the idea of a no afterlife has been bugging me. The point where I've lost ambition. I'm changing from who I used to be. I don't push that transcendent rep anymore, he says. He just doesn't push himself. He has dull conversations with friends and family, where before he was filled with philosophy and questions, but now his question is, why am I even bothering? Why am I doing this? What is the point? At the end of the day, we're all made from hydrogen atoms. We're just going to die. We just happen to be highly evolved, capable beings. Everything is worthless, so on and so forth. Elliot, please, what's the point of all this if there's no afterlife? Well, the very first thing, because there's so much, my friend, the very first thing is you're experiencing the cognitive dissonance. You're breaking up some eggs to create an omelet, meaning there's some pain associated with growth. And you've been newly introduced to a story or an element that has fucked up a story that you've believed for a long time, that there's an afterlife. Now, I'm not making any judgments about whether or not there's an afterlife or not, but the fact is you're 21 years old and you probably just came across the idea or significantly became, you just recently started really considering the idea that something you've been told since the time you were a child doesn't exist, right? There's no afterlife. Right? That's like if someone said to you tomorrow, listen, our 21-year-old male friend, you're not actually a male. You're a female. But you didn't know that, did you? You'd be freaked the fuck out. Like, it just doesn't make any sense because from the time you were born, you've been told, I'm a this. This is what the world is made of. This is the stories that they don't say stories, they say truth. But every truth is a story in a way. This is the truth about the world and the afterlife and so on and so forth. And even though you're clever, even though you're intelligent, even though you're free-thinking and objective, you still have to break up with that old truth because you've got new information to support what you are now thinking about, where you now seem to be going. So any pain that you're experiencing right now, look at it objectively also. Don't get wrapped up in the melodrama of, oh, there's no purpose of life, and I feel, because what happens is, our body is intelligent, so the very first place that you experience the pain, cognitive dissonance, I say cognitive dissonance, but you feel it as pain in your body. Take a look at how you're breathing. Notice if you're becoming depressed. And when I say depressed, I don't mean Here. I mean, notice if you're breathing less shallow, you're not exercising as much. You're not going out. You're just not expressive. You're becoming depressive. Take notice of what you're doing to your body, or what is happening in your body, because that's the very first place to go. It always is. And sometimes, I've read some comments. You guys are sick and tired of me saying this, but that is my message. That is my message. So that's what my videos will always be about. Go to your body. It's about the body. But take notice that it's just a reaction. It's simply a reaction. It's not telling you anything except that your physiology is responding to a severe stimulus. And guess what happens to stimulation and physiological responses to them? They go away if you don't attach to them, right? Because you can become very enrolled in this experience that you're having, and now you think about it, meaning you're going to perpetuate, you're going to kindle the problem. By thinking about it, I feel pain in my body, it's associated with an idea I just got, right? That there's no afterlife. Now you're attaching bigger words to it. No significance. Purposefulness life. Now you can become depressed because you're kindling the story and it's gonna keep depressing your body. So that's my very first thing, dude. Stop for a moment. Stop talking about it. Feel what you're feeling in your body. If you can, breathe. Exercise, go walk, go for a run, start jogging. Get some energy back in your body so you don't get fucking depressed. Because that's the worst thing that can happen now. Because now you're screwed and you're intelligent, and all we need is more screwed up intelligent people walking around with all their cleverness, feeling depressed and fucking us all up. Okay? Being depressed and clever at the same time means you're fooling yourself, you're drinking your own Kool-Aid, and you're gonna go and you're gonna fuck with other people. You're gonna start writing books and stuff, making people depressed. I'm being facetious, but hang in there, dude. It's the very first thing. The second thing is this story that we've always wanted to enroll in. We constantly do, and we even have teachers. And when I say teachers, I'm talking about the prophets. And when I say that word prophet, I don't necessarily mean it in a religious sense. I mean someone who's prophetic, someone who's poetic, someone who has an insight to the deeper realities, to the deeper resourcefulness and resourceful way of being able to live on earth. And what happens is mankind, we take these prophets and then we end up worshiping them, and they're like, they come back later on, they're like, oh, you guys got it all fucked up. Jesus comes back, right? Jesus comes, they were waiting for the Messiah, and he looks at all the people, all the Jews who were waiting for him, doing the things that were associated with what the ancient wisdom taught them, but they got it all fucked up, and he's like, you guys, you're idiots, come on, right? Jesus does that. Muhammad comes back and he sees, that they're worshiping all these idols, and he's like, there's just one, and then he gets all upset and he breaks up all the idols in the temple. Buddha comes and sits under a fucking tree and just says, you motherfuckers don't get it, so I'm just gonna chill out here until you really wanna know? Because I ain't gonna bother you. You really wanna know? Good, I'm gonna sit right here, ask me something. Right, this is how all the teachers did it. But then we turn it into religions, and then we go back to the story that fucked us up to begin with, that there's some end point to life. There's some place to get. There's somewhere to go. There's something to win. Do you see your problem? The problem is that you're a winner, and you recognize that. Not only that, but you're an intelligent, a creative warrior winner. You know what you want, you know how to think, you know how to go get it. So you've been posed with the biggest question, the reason why we have philosophy and religion, and it's eating you alive. Because it's very difficult to win, it's very difficult to answer that question, what is the purpose of life, from the logical standpoint. Because we win with logic. You see, you used your cognition to learn new languages. You used your cognition, you used your brain, you used your logic and your analytical skills, your objective reasoning, what makes human beings have technology and language, right? That marvels us. We're so marveled by ourselves because we have the ability to do the things that we do, but it's just that gift that fucks us up. Because you try to answer the bigger question, the more subtle, overreaching question with that type of logic, and it won't work. It's like trying to bite your teeth with your teeth. That's what Alan Watts would say. It's trying to smell your nose with your nose. It's trying to touch the tip of this finger with this finger because you are it. Do you see? You can't touch the tip of this finger with this finger because this finger is it. So you have to give up the whole thing completely and just enjoy the finger. I hope you can follow. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Now, one of the greatest metaphors I've ever heard for the purpose of life is the flower. And if you study Buddhism, and even Hinduism, in the East they kind of, I don't know how they figured it out, or they probably didn't corrupt it the same way we did in the West. In the West, I think we destroyed wisdom. You know, like the Library of Alexandria, like we just, you know, with one succession, they were like, fuck everybody else and their ideas, destroy. Because when you destroy ideas, you destroy wisdom. And when you destroy wisdom, you have an ungrounded culture. An ungrounded culture is very easy to manipulate, right? Like I always say, an ungrounded body is very easy to manipulate because you're up in your head. So in the West, we've gone to the head. We've got the technology associated with all the abilities of the head, but we've lost our grounding because wisdom has been destroyed. In the East, I don't think that was the case. Now, I'm not a historian, but I think they respected the wisdom enough that even if my empire is going to take over your empire, we're keeping all the books. We're reading that shit, and we're gonna infuse it into our understanding. You know, I believe Alexander the Great had that as an idea in his expansion of the Roman Empire at that particular time. But again, Alexander's library got burned. Anyway, of course I'm digressing quite a bit today. Follow me, please, if you can. So that wisdom of the East, in their wisdom, they would often use the flower as a metaphor for life. And you've got many different petaled flowers, you know, flowers with 2 petals, flowers with 1,000, 1,000,000 petals, so on and so forth. And the purpose of each flower is to be a 2-petaled flower or a 1,000-petaled flower. And we marvel at all of the significance associated with each flower. It doesn't matter what kind of flower. If you're looking at a sunflower, you're looking at a tulip, you're looking at a rose, you're looking at a dandelion. The purpose of the dandelion is just as significant as the purpose of the rose bush. Meaning that science, the universe, quantum physics, astrophysics, God, Allah, whatever story you've told yourself about the overriding intelligence that guides us, we think we're doing life, but life is actually doing us because this greater intelligence is moving this whole fucking thing. Now we have objective reasoning about it and we sort of contribute in a way, but not always. That intelligence saw the soil and said, I want a dandelion. Shit, it says I want weeds. I want thorn bushes. I want a 1,000-petaled flower. And each one is as significant as the other. The thorn bush is as significant as the 1,000-petaled lotus. Because it comes out of the metaphysical soil that we all come out of. If the rose bush is to, or the thorn bush is to wrap it doesn't have this ability, from as far as we know, but wrap its objective ability, its ability to see the future, to see the past, and to make its way, and said to itself, God damn, I'm really sharp. People don't like to touch me. It makes no fucking sense that I'm this sharp. And look at that tulip. Ah, 2 lips, soft and kissable. Such an interesting term for a flower. 2 lips. It's like a vagina. Mwah. What a nice flower. People want to smell and pick and sell and touch and kiss this flower. But me, they stay away from. It would be a little silly. You see, but of course human beings attach stories to different pieces of nature also. We call light, we use light as a metaphor for good and darkness as a metaphor for evil. Well, that again is a story, humans. We made that shit up because there is no light without darkness. You cannot understand, appreciate, and kiss the tulips if there's no contrast of the thorn bush, meaning that the thorn bush makes the tulip what it is because of contrast, and it is good. I create all these things, and it is good. Did you see? That's what our ancestors wanted to tell us. So the purpose, it is nothing more than to stand in its place and be one of what God is doing through it. That's it. That's the only purpose of all of these flowers, all of these bushes, all of these lotuses. They're significant in that they come out of this intelligence, but their purpose is far beyond anything they could ever even recognize. I gave both of those a purpose, saying that their purpose is contrast so that one could foretell of and tell the story of the other. But really, you know what? If you ask if you ask insects what the purpose is, one would be like, well, the thorn one, its purpose is to keep the animals that would eat us out of here because they get thorned up, and I can't live here if they don't get thorned up by the thorn bush. And oh yeah, the tulips, yeah, we love to just hang out. We live in them sometimes because they're so cozy. That's what the purpose is to those particular things. You can't nail down your purpose. I make these videos and I say my purpose is to become the strongest version of myself and inspire others. Well, you know what my purpose is to some people? To annoy the shit out of them. Some people watch my videos and they fucking hate me. Some people, there are channels and their videos where they just make fun of me. Hey, the purpose of Elliot Hulse is to be an idiot so we have something to giggle about. That's my purpose. That's Elliot Hulse's purpose from that perspective. Perspective is everything. Shit, I'm throwing a lot at you guys right now. Perspective is everything. And there's a billion perspectives. Which one are you going to enroll in? Which story, because there's a billion of them, are you going to choose to make yourself a slave to? You're making yourself a slave to the story that there's no afterlife and somehow that's bad. It's just a story. It's just a perspective. Get over it. Don't allow it to ruin the beauty of your tulips, of your two lips. Don't let it ruin your beauty. And hey, guess what? You know what? If what God wants to do through you is make a miserable, suicidal, what could have been something with great potential, downer, then I can't argue with that, right? Because God's doing what God's doing. Maybe that's the point. I might not like thorn bushes because they fucking cut me, but hey, that's just my perspective. So let me end this on a positive note, because although life has no purpose, there's no single purpose to life. There's no single purpose to your life. There's a myriad of perspectives on who you are and what you do for the other people, for the ecosystem in your life. And that's your purpose to all of that, even though you have not even considered it. When I say there's no purpose, I mean you can't pin it down. You just ride. But, now this is very important, although there's no purpose, no single purpose, there's great significance. Because you come out of an intelligence, call it astrophysics, whatever you want to call it. There's an intelligence that we're trying our best to figure out, but we just don't fucking know. If you're into astrophysics and you like Neil deGrasse, I think that guy's awesome. I've been watching a series with him recently. He knows so much, but in the end he goes, but we don't know, and that's fucking awesome. Right? So you can. I mean, he's the most famous physicist at this particular point. He's taken the place of I can't remember, Carl Sagan. And Carl Sagan brought science into our era, and this man is taking us into the next era. He's fantastic. I happen to like him. He's a brother. Even he says, look, we're figuring it all out, but we don't know shit. So it's just a game. But Look at how significant it is. Look out if you've watched the series with him, I can't remember the name of it. Something about the universe. But you look out into the magnificence of the universe and how tiny we are in it. And look at time and our perspective with regard to time and how significant it is. And if you delve down into the depths and deepness of our organic physiology, each organ and its cells, and each cell's organelles, and down and down and down and down until they get to the particles, the atoms, the electrons, the quarks and bosons, and there's nothing there, but there's everything there. It's really goddamn significant. I say goddamn, interesting, huh? Because damn, God, you're good. This shit is so fucking significant. It's really significant for each part to play the part that it's designed to play. I believe they call that your dharma in parts of the East. You're just, look, hey, I don't know your name. I'm gonna call you Bob for a moment, but you're just a Bob. In the same way that a tulip is just a tulip. And be a fucking awesome Bob. Be a great Bob. But do not be a slave to the stories you've been told about what this is. And don't add too much purposefulness to any piece of it. But recognize it and your significance. You are stardust. Right, dude? You're fucking stardust. And your electrons, your bosons, your quarks. You're moving in and out of time zones that we don't even understand. You know, we perceive, I can't say live, but we perceive on a time-space continuum, but it's one of perhaps millions. Don't get too wrapped up in that either. Because another fantastic story, one that I find very resourceful, it's just one perspective that I happen to like because it makes my life good. I feel good in my body when I adopt this perspective. Is that with our ignorance associated with other time-space locales, there could potentially be, and it probably is, because it's like, logically, in my mind, in my heart, kind of makes sense that when we die, we don't really die. And in fact, I think it might be amazing to consider that we reincarnate. We come back as someone or something else. And we get to keep going. Life ain't over. Now, I'll tell you why I think that perspective is fantastic. Because it means when I die, it ain't over, so I have nothing to be depressed about. I don't have to have won or lost. I don't need all the virgins in this fucking sky. I'm taking care of several virgins right now on Earth. I got 3 daughters. Do you understand what I'm saying? I understand the significance of that. I'm nourishing the upbringing, the education, the development, psychologically, emotionally, physically, of 3 women. I don't need 100 virgins in the sky when I die. I am offering such a gift here on Earth. I don't need gold and riches in the clouds when I die and when I meet my maker and he says, yes, Elliot, you've been good or you've been bad. Because I'm doing it right here, right now. And the pieces that I don't develop because I just wasn't strong enough, I just didn't have the time to develop in myself, I can come back and deal with later. But I get to carry the care and nourishment of my